What's up, guys? I wanted to make a quick little video going over some things that you need to be aware of that are in chapter 2, specifically things that you're going to be looking at today. All the stuff that I'm about to talk to you real quick are in the PowerPoints for chapter 2, and you need to make sure that you're looking over your PowerPoints. One of the biggest things that you need to know is the acronym ALERT, why we have the acronym ALERT, and what do we use it for. ALERT is part of a food safety program for keeping food safe, specifically for deliberate contamination of food. So you may think, who would want to deliberately contaminate my food, whether you're working at working or managing a store, a restaurant, or things of that nature. They came up with that specifically for if maybe you want to think of like terrorists. A big way terrorists could mess with our food would be our crops or something like that, putting chemicals on our crops to mess with our food and make people sick. They can inject radioactive material into food and stuff like that will purposely contaminate it. So specifically for terrorists will be the ones that would deliberately mess with our food. And then the book also throws in their competitors. Maybe you are Joe and you're the manager of a pizza place in town and it's a hot spot to get pizza, and then you've got another pizza spot down the road there, and y'all are big time competitors. And maybe the pizza place down the road wants to mess with you and kind of hurt your business, so they purposely contaminate your food in some way. So to prevent purpose or deliberate contamination of food, we use the acronym ALERT, and you need to know what ALERT stands for. The A is for assure. You need to make sure that you're getting your food from safe sources, and you need to supervise when your products are delivered. So you're not just going to be in the back in one part of the warehouse when somebody's delivering food and not pay it any mind. You're going to have somebody over there to inspect the delivery, make sure that it's coming off of a locked truck, and make sure that everything is safe. So the A is for assure. The L is for look. You need to monitor your products, keep your storage room locked, and limit access to your storage room. You're not just going to let anybody and everybody in your storage area or in your kitchen and things like that. The E is for employees. You need to know who your employees are. Do background checks on them, keep files on them, and make sure they wear name badges and identification and stuff like that. And make sure you're keeping track of them. The E is for reports. Make sure that you keep receiving logs and make sure you keep files of those receiving logs. So basically when you're getting food delivered, you look at the invoice, you sign off that yes, this and was delivered, this is who it was delivered by, this is the company. You have your employee or designated person sign off on it, date it, and you keep those records on file. So that way if something does happen to the food, you can say this is who inspected it, this is who received it, and I have that documentation on file. The T is for threat. Basically, who are you going to report to if you think somebody is messing with your food? So you walk into your storage room, or either you walk into your storage room or one of your employees says, hey, I think somebody deliberately messed with our food. It looks like it's been tampered with, something like that. You need to know who are you going to report to. Usually it's your state or local regulatory authority, and then you're also going to call on the police. But you need to know, what are you going to do in an emergency situation when you think somebody has messed with your food? What are you going to do about it, and who are you going to call? Okay, so that's what ALERT is. Definitely go back in Chapter 2's PowerPoint, find a couple of slides where they talk about ALERT and review over them. You also need to review over right behind ALERT in the PowerPoint. They talk about what to do or how to respond to a foodborne illness. So maybe you're managing a restaurant and you've gotten 2 or 3 calls from people who've gotten sick from possibly eating oysters or possibly eating hamburgers that night, right? So once somebody calls, what are you going to do? You need to make sure that you take their name down, their phone number down, what specifically they ate, what time were they at your restaurant, if they remember any servers' names, and what are their signs and symptoms, and why do they think that they're sick. You want to do all that. If you do have an outbreak, remember outbreak is 2 or more people. You're going to call your local and state regulatory authority and let them know what's going on. You're also going to investigate and see who was working in your restaurant during that time period and kind of let them know and kind of question them. And you also need to take that food product. So say it was oysters, you're not going to take those oysters and throw them away. You need to separate them from the kitchen. Naturally, you don't want anybody else eating them if they are making people sick. But you want to separate them and you want to tag them. Put on there, part of, a warning label or something like that on it. Do not throw them away. The reason why they don't want you throwing it away is because the local or state health department or regulatory authority may want to investigate it and kind of see what specifically is in those oysters, for example, that are making people sick. Same thing goes for a food recall. There were several questions on the ServSafe exam about food recalls. What do you do? Maybe, you work at Balesters, right? And remember a while back they had the Bluebell ice cream, had listeria in it, and it was part of a recall. The people at Balestras did not immediately take the Bluebell off the shelf and throw everything away. They definitely took the Bluebell, off the shelf, but they tagged it. You have to tag it, put a red label on it, say do not throw away, part of a food recall, and separate it. A while back they had the same thing with like Kraft mac and cheese, I believe had metal shavings in it. Same thing, if you know that in your restaurant for whatever reason you were serving Kraft mac and cheese, or in your store, you definitely take it off the shelf and remove it so nobody else uses it, but you do not throw it away. You label it and put do not throw away, part of a recall. Why? Because like Bluebell, for example, may want to come pick up the ice cream and investigate it. Kraft may want to come pick up the mac and cheese and kind of check into it. So that's the biggest thing, that they try to trip you up by saying throw it away. You do not want to throw it away if it's part of a recall or a suspected foodborne illness outbreak. Definitely separate it, label it. One other quick thing, I think there was some confusion on, not confusion, but just don't forget as far as transporting salad dressings, tomato juice, citric acids, any kind of acidic stuff. You cannot put that in any kind of galvanized copper or zinc pot. The safest thing to put it in is stainless steel. Stainless steel is your safest bet. You can put any of that stuff in stainless steel and it won't hurt it. The only thing you can put like in a galvanized copper or zinc pot would be maybe like flour, sugar, something that's not acidic. Sugar's a little question mark there, definitely flour. Or like baked goods or something like that. But no acidic stuff can go in any galvanized pots or copper or zinc, only stainless steel. Okay, so be sure to take a look at your Chapter 2 PowerPoint and do today's activity. And there's a question on there also today that I want you to look at and answer. And I hope to see you guys soon.